If you are a freelance creative and you are tired of undercharging, burning out, or even saying yes to the client you don't even like, this video is for you. I've been a commercial photographer for over a decade, working with global brands, and the things actually hold me back and had nothing to do with lighting or lenses. It was, why can I say no? Why do I keep lowering my price? Why am I exhausted even when things look successful from outside? Those 4 books give me answers. None of them are actually about photography. They aren't random picks. They are a journey. First, you understand yourself, why you keep saying yes while you shouldn't. Then, you figure out where you stand in the market. Next, you build something that doesn't burn you out. And finally, you start looking at your whole life as the real project. Let's go through them one by one. Book 1 is Complex PTSD From Surviving to Thriving by Peter Walker. This book is for you if you keep saying yes when you want to say no, and then resent yourself afterwards. In freelance life, it looks like this. A client asks for just one more version, and you say yes without charging. You quote lower than you should because you are scared they will work. A project double in scope, and you say nothing. They call you so easy to work with. But what they are praising isn't your professionalism, it's your fear. Walker explains why. He calls it the fawn response. You've heard of fight, flight, and freeze. Fawning is the 4th one. It's when your nervous system learns to stay safe by making other people happy. You merge with what they want. You become whatever they need. That's not bad business sense. That's a survival pattern. And before you can price correctly, negotiate confidently, or walk away from a bad project, you have to understand why saying no feels dangerous in the first place. Once you understand yourself, the next question is, okay, so who am I in this market? And how do I make this clear to people I want to work with? Book 2 is Positioning, The Battle of Your Mind by Ries and Trout. This one is for you if you hate answering, so what do? Because you don't know how to explain in a way that sticks. Here's how this played out for me. I didn't start by asking what kind of photographer I want to be. I started by asking, who do I want to work with? And for me, the answer was clear. I wanted to work with brands, specifically companies that operate internationally. Then I looked around. What were other photographers in my city doing? Portraits, weddings, products, real estate, restaurants. They are great, but mostly general stuff. So I asked myself, for the people I want to serve, what do they actually need that no one here is really doing well? And then I reversed my thinking, my positions from there. That became C-level executive portraits and brand storytelling for companies that need to look sharp in the international market. What I was doing without knowing it was exactly what this book describes. And this book mentioned that positioning is not what you say about yourself, it's the space you already occupy in your customer's mind. You are not inventing something new. You are finding a position that's empty and then owning it. You don't go over the obstacle, you go around it. As a solo creative, you can't afford to be vague. Vague is invisible. So now you know who you are. You know where you stand. The next question is, how do you build this thing without destroying yourself in the process? Book 3 is Company of One by Jarvis. This one is for you if everyone around you is scaling up, and you secretly wonder if you are falling behind by staying where you are. I will be honest, there were times I was tempted to scale, get an office, hire full-time, build a real company. Because this is what growth is supposed to look like, right? Then I read this book, and there's a story in it. Jarvis talked about a friend who figured out his enough number, the exact income he needed, and once he hit it, he just stopped. He didn't want to grow his accounting business into something bigger with employees and offices, because if he did, his enough number will grow too, and he'd lose the freedom that made it all worth it. And I thought, that's what I actually want, the freedom. I want to be able to say I'm going away for a month and just go, and you can't do that when you have overhead, payroll, or people relying on you showing up every day. So I intentionally stay small. But here what I didn't expect. As I kept working, I started meeting other freelancers, photographers, videographers, producers, who think the same way. And when a big project comes along, we team up. We take on the project together, delivery at a high level, and then we go back to our own lives. No one locked in a salary, no one stuck. We scale up when the work calls for it and scale back down when it doesn't. And during the pandemic, that flexibility wasn't just nice to have, it was survival. The business with big studios and full-time staff were bleeding out money. We were small, we were flexible, and we made it through. Staying small isn't just a lifestyle choice. Sometimes it's the smartest business strategy you can have. The first 3 books helped me with the business, but the last one helps me with the bigger questions. What kind of life am I actually building here? The last book is Artist of Life, a collection of Bruce Lee's letters, essays, and notes. This one is for you if you already chosen the freelance path, and you sometimes wonder if you were completely insane to do it. Most people know Bruce Lee as a fighter, but he studied philosophy, and he thought deeply about what it means to live as an artist. I think once you've made the decision to go freelance, to really commit to it, there's a period where you'll struggle a lot. Not with the work, with yourself. You'll wonder if you are making the right call. You compare yourself to people with steady paychecks. You lay awake doing math in your head. But here, what I keep coming back to, you already found the things you love enough to risk everything for. That matters. So keep doing what you are good at and let it lead you. Bruce Lee talks about 3 stages of mastery. The first stage is the beginner. You don't know any technique. You just react on instinct. It's raw and clumsy, but it's very honest. It's just you. You just enjoy taking photos and videos. No rules, no strategies. It's messy, but it's very real. The second stage is the student. You start learning all the proper methods. Proper exposures, every systems, every framework. In Kung Fu, your form gets sharper. In creative work, your study compositions, lightings, business, branding, you get more skilled, but you also lose something. You overthink, you second guesses, your moves stop feeling natural. You are so busy analysis that you drift away from your own instincts. And the third stage, he calls it the art of no art. After years of practice, you stop forcing techniques. In Kung Fu, you become like water pressing against a wall, finding the smallest crack and flowing through it. You don't even think about what to do, you just do. As a creative, if you keep going, you reach a similar place. The technique is still there, but it's invisible. You stop decorating and starting simplifying. You respond to the moment instead following a formula. Nothing controls your visual decisions. No trends, no algorithms, no other people's rules. Bruce Lee said, be water. And I think for freelancer, that's not just philosophy, it's a survival strategy. Be small enough to move, be clear enough to reflect, be strong enough to keep going. Look, I made this video because I wish someone had told me this stuff 10 years ago. I spent so long thinking the problem was my portfolio, my gears, my marketing. It wasn't. The problem was that I didn't understand myself well enough to run a business that actually fits my life. If you've read something that changed how you think about your creative career, leave it in the comment. I'm always looking. I will see you in the next one.